Have you felt like you're not doing enough in your homeschool? Have you felt like maybe your kids are behind and you're worried? Are you looking at other homeschool moms and thinking, how are they doing this? They seem to know what they're doing, but I am confused. I don't feel like we're doing a good job of this with my kids, with what we're studying, how we're studying, what we're doing. Have you ever felt any of those things? Well, I'm Penney Douglas, and I am the founder of Safe Haven Homeschooling. I was a first grade teacher for 5 years, and after I quit teaching because I had a baby, I had been married and I was married while I was still teaching, and then after 2 years, it was time to have a baby. I told my husband it's time to have a baby, and we did. And so I wanted to be home with my children. So I quit teaching at that time. And then right after that, I heard about homeschooling. I really hadn't even heard of it before until I heard about it on Focus on the Family. And I heard Dr. Raymond Moore talking to Dr. Dobson about homeschooling. And it really resonated with me. And I thought, that sounds great. I would love to do that. My baby was only 6 months old at the time, my first child, and I had just quit teaching, but some of the things that they said about teachers not really getting to spend a whole lot of time with each student, I knew that was true. And I knew that the students were learning a lot of immature behavior from each other and spending more time with each other than with the adults. And other things they talked about, things that happen on the buses, the bullying that happens. I knew that those things were true because I had just left teaching, and I was at a pretty tame school district, but I knew, things happen in schools that I would like to keep my children safe from, and that I would like to teach my kids at home. I would like to be their teacher. And so I learned more about homeschooling, and then we started going to a church soon after where almost everybody homeschooled, and I became their assessor. Every year they had to have a homeschool assessment done in Ohio. They don't have to do that anymore, and I'm glad for them. But I'm in Texas now. I've only been back in Texas for about less than 2 weeks, really. I'm in Waco, and we never did have to have assessments done in Texas, but in Ohio we did, and I did homeschool assessments every year. I did about 100 families, and I saw what they were doing in homeschooling, and I thought that is wonderful, and I loved the moms that I was meeting and the kids. I saw how well behaved they were most of the time, but I just saw how great it was for the families that they were homeschooling, and so that's what I decided to do with my kids. I decided to homeschool with that first little boy, and I learned a lot from working with him about the things that I came up with as my philosophy of education and my philosophy of learning and what works best for our family and for a lot of families. Takes the pressure off of homeschool moms, the way that I learned to do it and the things that I started doing in our homeschool. And so I ended up having 10 kids and homeschooled all of them all the way through high school. The oldest one is 35. That little baby that I started homeschooling is now 35 and married. And then I have my fourth child, my daughter Anna, is married and has two little boys, and the youngest is only 3 months old, and the other one is 2 years old. And I finally got to meet my little 3-month-old grandson last Sunday. And my 2-year-old grandson is just amazing, of course. And I'm so glad to be closer to them now because they live in outside of Houston. And it is still 2.5 hours away, 2.5 hour drive, but that's better than 16-hour drive. So that's how I started Safe Haven Homeschooling, through what I learned about teaching your own children at home in your family and making it more of a family process and a family activity and just making homeschooling part of your lifestyle, and not having a separate school time, but just life is school, life is homeschooling. And so I want to share my screen here. Let me get the right thing up here first. Here we go. And share this. I have a little slide to show here that I'll show you. Safe Haven Homeschooling is what I have called our homeschool and my business that helps you move your motherhood from pressure to peace. Homeschool mom of 10, educator and coach. And so I know that sometimes it feels like there's a lot going on in your life. You're exhausted. The house is a mess. You don't feel like, or you feel like you don't measure up. The kids won't listen, and you wonder if you're actually crazy because, you know, you hear other people saying that you are, and you start to wonder, maybe I really am. I would hear that a lot because of all the kids that I had. But I was very proud of my family and happy to have so many children, and I just thought it was wonderful. But if you're nodding along when I read these, you're exhausted, the house is a mess, you feel like you don't measure up, the kids won't listen, you wonder if you're actually crazy. If you're nodding along, please hear me say this. You are not alone, and you are doing better than you think. Our mission, there we go. To guide overwhelmed mothers out of the trap of perfectionism and into a grace-filled, sustainable homeschooling lifestyle. You know, we have that trap of pressure that most of us start out in when we first start homeschooling, rigid clock-based schedules, because we do it like school, serving the curriculum, fear of falling behind, exhaustion, and prayerlessness. But the path to peace is flexible, gentle daily rhythms, heart connection over completion of workbooks and worksheets, joyful discovery, and masterly inactivity. And we'll talk more about what that means in a little bit. Spiritual rest and reliance on God. Building a safe haven, the 3 pillars. Pillar 1 is daily foundations, anchoring your spirit and shifting your mindset before the day begins. You know, starting out with prayer, with checking in with God, with spending time with Him is the best way to start before, you know, all the kids get up and stuff starts happening and they start needing things and you start giving all that has to be given, all that has to be done, spending that time getting filled up, making sure your cup is full before you start pouring out for everybody else. Pillar 2 is household management, calming the chaos through flexible rhythms and shared responsibility. Pillar 3 is fearless, family-centered education, inspiring the mind by honoring your child's unique development. And this is more about Pillar 1, daily foundations. Let's start with the foundation at the bottom here. Start at the source. Trade prayerlessness for peace. Start the day with a simple connection to God, even if it's just 10 minutes before the kids wake up. You were made to be loved, not just to do tasks. It's so important for us to know that, for us to believe that we were made to be loved, not just to do tasks. God made us so that He could love us. He didn't make us for all that we could do for Him. That's not how He is. He just wants to love us. That's why He made people, and that's why He made you, so that He could love you. So let Him love you, and don't consider yourself a workhorse or someone that just is only qualified and valued because of what they do. because of what you do. The top 3 priorities are focus only on what matters most each day. Leave room in your plans for divine redirection. Set 3 priorities for the day that you want to make sure you get done each day. And then a heart connection. Include a deliberate moment of connection with each child daily. A hug, eye contact, a kind word. Obedience grows in the soil of love. Pillar 2, household management. Anchor rhythms, not strict clocks. Swap strict hourly schedules for flexible anchor points. If math gets derailed, pick it up after the next anchor, like lunch, without the whole day failing. Enlist the team. You are not the mommy martyr. Assign age-appropriate chores. Kids thrive on contribution, and it builds their confidence. Simplify meals. Use slow cookers. Plan 3 go-to breakfasts and lunches, and let go of Pinterest perfect expectations. Expectations can be a big problem if your expectations are too high. Clean enough is the goal. So you have a gentle rhythm to your day. Morning, you wake up, you do the chores. The kids know what their chores are. You have a chore chart, or you just have assigned chores for as they get old enough to do anything, fold clothes or load the dishwasher, whatever. Let them do it. Have them do it. Midday reset and meal. Then, after the meal, you can start in on whatever the next thing is. If you still have some more school to do, then, you have a nice you had the little break of eating together and maybe them helping you fix the meal and helping you clean up afterwards, setting the table before, and then the evening wind down after dinner, playing some quiet games, or some puzzles, or watching a movie together, or reading a book. A read aloud is great for that time. And then pillar 3 is fearless, family-centered education. You want the joy of learning to be the main thing that comes out of your homeschool. Checking the box is great, and we all like to do that as moms. But the main thing that we should be looking at is the joy of learning. And if what we're doing that we're checking the boxes for, the workbook, making sure we get the workbook done each day, or making sure that they've done their spelling words, or whatever it is that we have on our schedule, whatever we have in our planner for the day, that should be done. But the biggest thing that we should be thinking about is, are the kids enjoying their learning? And are they developing a love of learning? So embrace masterly inactivity, which I told you we would talk about more. Give children the freedom to explore, play, and follow their curiosity. Stepping back is a valid teaching strategy. So masterly inactivity is something that Charlotte Mason talked about. And she was telling us that we should let our kids think. Let them have some time to just, process all the information they've been getting from their books, from what they've been studying, what you've been telling them, what you've been teaching them, to put it all together, make connections and connect the dots. So that's an important thing, to embrace masterly inactivity and not feel like you have to fill every minute, every second with something for them to do. And then it's up to you to give them something to do, because they need time on their own. They need time to think. Honor uniqueness. Every child develops at their own pace. Age does not dictate intelligence, and a delayed milestone is not a permanent failure. And I think this is so important for moms to know, because it is hard when your child is not doing something at the same age that someone is their child is doing reading or math or whatever, or even just when they're 2 years old and they're not talking yet. Like my little grandson is, gobbledygook is the kind of language that he speaks right now. But my daughter knows better than to worry because she has seen that every child is different and they develop at different rates. And my oldest son, and then we were just talking about this when we were there visiting my little grandsons, and my older son and his wife were there too. And he said, well, I didn't start really reading well until I was like, how old was I? And I said, you were 12. And he was like, yeah. And then my husband jumped in and said, yeah. And then you started reading 17th grade level books and, the Bible and all the stuff that Sean started reading was amazing. And, he's quite the thinker and quite the philosopher and, just very intelligent. That not reading well until he was 12 had nothing to do with his intelligence. And I say that, and I tell that story to encourage people whose children haven't started reading yet when they're in the ages that it feels like they're getting too old. There's something wrong. There's nothing wrong with him. And I've heard a lot of other stories like that. Real life learning, ditch the busy work. Combine subjects through unit studies, living books, and rich family read-alouds. You can use workbooks and worksheets and textbooks if you must, but make sure that there's a lot of real life learning and projects happening in your homeschool. The paradigm shift, curriculum is a servant. You are the master. You do not work for the curriculum works for you. It is merely a tool in your dashboard. You don't let the curriculum tell you, oh, we have to get that done this week or today. You can use other things for curriculum too. Library books, nature walks, life skills. These are all part of what we can do in our homeschools to make sure that real learning is happening and not just filling in the blanks or just finishing up a book by the end of the year. Permission to skip. You don't have to finish every page of the workbook. If your child masters the concept, move on, because they're going to get bored and they're going to hate having to do their school every day. Tailor to the child. Adapt materials to fit learning styles. Let kinesthetic learners walk around the table. Let visual learners draw while they listen. Things like that. Wherever helps them to learn, let them do it. Handling interruptions with grace. Homeschooling is not a straight line. It is woven into the messy, beautiful life of the home. Divine appointments. That toddler meltdown or sudden deep question isn't a distraction from your ministry. It is the discipleship. Jesus welcomed interruptions. We can too. He said, suffer the little children to come unto me, and this is that kind of thing. Practical sanity savers. Create quiet activity bins for littles. Teach kids the difference between an urgent emergency and is there pressure in your homeschool? Is your main goal finishing the workbook? Or is there more of a peaceful atmosphere in your home and in your homeschool where your goal is fostering a lifelong love of learning? Is your main goal fostering a lifelong love of learning, or is it just finishing the workbook? Do you have that pressure mindset of the schedule is rigid and clock-based blocks to get everything done by 2:00 or to get the reading done by 11 in the morning and then lunch and then by the clock? I could not do that, even though I had to do that as a teacher, as a first grade teacher, in public school. I had to do everything by the clock, but I wasn't good at it then. But when I got home, when I was teaching my kids at home, I could not do that clock schedule. And it turned me into a drill sergeant or a monster because of the pressure of that. And so I learned to do the schedule like this: flowing, anchor-based rhythms, a framework of how we did things. We started out, with breakfast, and we would I would do a read aloud first sometimes, because that was my favorite thing, and the kids all liked that too. And then they would do their work, they would do their books, that they each had their own books and they knew what to do. And so they would go from there. And we didn't have this. I didn't tell them they had to have things, a certain thing done by a certain time. They knew by the end of the week I wanted, these pages done. I wanted them to have studied a certain topic, and that worked so much better for us. We were a lot happier with that. Do you have the pressured mindset where you as a teacher are stressed, isolated, doing it all? Or are you as a teacher supported, sharing the tasks and resting? Taking that time to rest is important. We need to do that. We need to recognize what our bodies need. And, when things are getting just too out of control, the kids are, antsy, they need to be outside, then that's the time you do it. You go outside, you close the books and you go outside and you just take a break and do something different. The pressured mindset of your environment is that you do public school replicated at the kitchen table. That's a lot of pressure, and it is not necessary at all. And it's not the best way to do teaching in the first place. If it was the best way, then public schools would have better results than they do. Or we can have a peaceful environment, customized, cozy, life integrated haven. And our homeschool can just feel more peaceful and relaxed. Meet your homeschool co-pilot. That's me. Safe Haven Homeschooling. I am Penney Douglas. I have a bachelor's of science in elementary education. I'm a homeschool mom of 10 children, a former public school teacher, homeschool life coach with over 26 years of hands-on experience. And I would love to work with you if you feel like homeschooling is not working out for you and you're thinking about sending your kids back to school or putting them in school for the first time. I can help you. And I have walked through toddler tantrums and teen struggles, learning differences, burnout, and breakthroughs. The promise that I give you is I've been where you are, and I want to help you skip the stress, stop second guessing every decision, and enjoy the journey. The Basics of Learning a Homeschooling e-course is a course that I put together with my oldest son, that first little baby boy that when he was like 4.5, 5 years old, we started homeschooling, and I learned a lot of things through him. The problem is that you are convinced homeschooling is best, but you fear you aren't qualified or will miss something important. Yeah, a lot of new homeschool moms feel that way. And sometimes when they've been homeschooling for a year, they're still feeling that way. But the solution is a comprehensive, self-paced e-course on Teachable, designed to give you the theory, philosophy, and practical tips of a veteran educator and her oldest son. What you'll master is determining true academic readiness, understanding cognitive stages of development, identifying the 8 great smarts and learning styles, and teaching students with learning differences. The result is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You start your journey with absolute confidence. So my course is on Teachable, and you can get that, and I will give you the links. Safe Haven Personalized Coaching uses that same course, but I go through the course with you. The program is high-touch mentorship combining the Basics of Learning course with weekly one-on-one coaching calls directly with me. And who it's for is, I don't know why that keeps popping up there. Moms who feel overwhelmed, are terrified their kids will fall behind, or are exhausted by constant trial and error. You don't want to let your kids down. I understand that. And I can help you what you're doing, and you know that what you're doing is working with your kids and is causing them to learn what they need to learn in the way that they need to learn it, in a way that will bring peace to your homeschooling and peace to your mind. Your transformation that will come from this personalized coaching is that you'll trust yourself again as your child's best teacher, like you did when you were teaching them to walk and talk and all those things that you taught them as they were, just growing up and just learning all the new things. You are still their best teacher. You will stop second guessing every curriculum decision. I will help you choose what works best for your children and for your family. You'll choose learning paths that actually fit your unique family, and you'll homeschool from a place of deep peace, not pressure. And I want you to know you are not just a mom. You're a stay-at-home mom, and you are teaching your children, and you are as important as any teacher in a school. Your work is sacred. You're changing diapers, reading stories, and shaping character is not small work. It is kingdom impact. You are doing the holy work of shaping souls. And God chose you. He didn't choose someone more organized or more patient. He chose you specifically to be the mother of your children. Another thing that I want you to know is you are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. The love you give and the truth you teach are planting seeds that will grow far beyond what you can see today. So find your safe haven today. You can book a call with me, schedule a free 15-minute discovery call via Calendly to discuss coaching or tutoring, because I do tutor students also. You can join the community, find further encouragement on the Safe Haven Substack and YouTube channel, and also I have a Facebook group that you could join. May your homeschool be filled with joy and laughter. You're not alone. You're not failing. And yes, you really can do this. So that is what I wanted to tell you. And I also want to tell you, let me share again. Let me get the right thing up to share. All right. I have this new website called Homeschooling Can Be Fun, because that's an important value to me, is that homeschooling is fun. We can make it fun. We can enjoy it ourselves as moms, and our children can enjoy what, seems like drudgery when they have to go to school and do their learning. We can make it really fun because learning is fun. And if they're allowed to really explore their interests and just have a chance to discover, things that they're interested in, things that they want to know, then homeschooling is fun. Learning is fun. So what I offer in my Safe Haven Homeschooling and through this website, comprehensive resources and supports transfer your homeschool into a joyful, creative learning environment. And I just love these pictures that AI made for me. But I have some comprehensive guides, step-by-step guides to create engaging lessons, nature walks, and hands-on projects that follow your child's interests. I have some video training for how to make homeschooling fun, make learning fun. I have the coaching program I just mentioned, and then I have some curriculum that I sell on Teachers Pay Teachers and Etsy. A lot of it is Charlotte Mason oriented, but then I also have some math and some, I have some copywork journals, and I have a journal just for moms, and a couple of those, and copywork and narration journals, because I really like the Charlotte Mason approach. So I have done some curriculum in that, with that method in mind. Why join this program? You can get personalized guidance to transform your homeschool into a joyful, creative learning environment. And what I teach is child-led learning, because I think for them to really learn something, they have to make the knowledge their own. So you learn how to follow your child's natural curiosity and let them pursue their passions. while still covering essential skills, which I know they need. You know, I'm big on phonics. I like to teach kids to read. In my tutoring, I have taught a lot of kids to read. And when I was a first grade teacher, I taught a lot of kids to read. And practical strategies that I show you get step-by-step guidance on creating engaging lessons, planning field trips, and designing hands-on projects. Expert support, access to personalized coaching and resources designed specifically for homeschooling parents who want to make learning fun. So you can join my coaching program and get personalized guidance to transform your homeschool into a link in the description of this website and my this is in my Facebook group that you can join. I would love to see you there, and I would love for you to go to this website, and let me see if I can get to the resources that I have on here. Load in resources. I just did this website, so it's kind of not all the way finished, but I made this little guide, Make Homeschooling Fun, Simple Ways to Bring Joy into Your Homeschool. Make Homeschooling Fun is a warm, encouraging guide, and you can download that. That is for free. Dear Struggling Homeschool Mom, I See You devotional journal. That is free. That's a devotional for you as the mom. And I made it to go along with the book I wrote called Dear Struggling Homeschool Mom, I See You, and I sell that on Amazon. I also wrote a book called 5 Steps to Becoming a Great Homeschool Parent. And I also wrote a book called The Basics of Learning and Homeschooling. And that's my course has a lot of that same content as that book. But the course has more than what I wrote in the book. How to use some Charlotte Mason methods without using the full-on method. You can download that. You can download that here. It's free. Creating engaging lessons, a step-by-step guide for homeschool moms. You can download that. It's free. Picture study portfolios is something that I recommend. You can view that resource here. It's not free. Explode the Code Phonics is my favorite phonics program. Most of my kids use that, and you can look at that too. These other things on here are not free, but they're my favorite resources for these different subjects. History Revealed, Diana Waring's history. It's really good. Sunlight Curriculum is my favorite curriculum. Homeschool in the Woods is great for history and geography type things. CTC Math is the program that we used the most. So that is that website, and I will share those links in the description. And thank you for watching. I'm Penney Douglas. I'm at Safe Haven Homeschooling. This is the bed and breakfast that we are going to get when things work out the way we expect them to. And it's in Asheville, North Carolina. We're looking forward to having this bed and breakfast someday. So I have it as my vision board right behind me. So thank you for joining me today, and I will see you next time.